My sister-in-law lied to her in-laws about our family. I couldn't stay silent.
Speak your truth, girl.
I am 25 female and have an older sister, Kate, 30 female. She and I were never close due to our age difference and because she hated that our dad married my mom and had me after divorcing her mother. By the way, this comes from OK Client 3075. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, Kate claims dad told her he never loved her mother and that my mom was his true love. She also claims that our dad always compared the two of us, asking her why she had to be a difficult child and that overall, he loved me more. On the other hand, dad claims nothing she says is true, that she was very problematic and insolent. And these claims are backed up by my mother and dad's parents, so I assume Kate was never 100% honest. Anyways, these are their problems that do not concern me. Some time ago, Kate reached out to me and told me she got engaged.
Congrats, Kate.
I said, congrats, and everything. She told me she had a favor to ask. She explained that her future mother-in-law is very family-oriented, and it does not sit well with her that Kate is estranged from her family. In her words, future mother-in-law considered something to be wrong with Kate, and she is to blame for being no contact with her family, fearing Kate will also influence her son to do the same thing. What Kate wanted from me was for me to meet her in-laws so they could see she does not hate her family. I joked that her future mother-in-law sounds a little insane, but I agreed to help her because at the end of the day, I never hated her, and I don't think she hated me either. The fact we are not close does not mean we hate each other or want bad things to happen to the other one. Anyways, I went to meet Kate, her future husband, and her mother-in-law and father-in-law at a restaurant. They are very nice people and very warm. At some point, mother-in-law said something along the lines of being happy to see that the abuse we suffered did not affect our sisterly bond. I was confused and asked what abuse she was talking about while Kate tried to change the subject. Mother-in-law says it's okay that I have nothing to be ashamed of and that she knows from Kate that our parents mistreated us while growing up. I clarified that that's not true. We were never mistreated by our parents or anyone in our family. We were raised in a very loving family. We were never hit or spanked, no matter what we did. Our parents are well off, so we always had everything that we wanted. Clothes, phones, laptops, cars, etc. Mother-in-law got very, very angry. She apologized to me and started insulting my sister. She called her a liar, accused her of being manipulative and trying to insert herself into their family by being dishonest. What happens is that Kate accused our parents of many things that are not true. Now Kate is accusing me of ruining her life. She says her engagement is over, the in-laws hate her, and her fiancé does not trust her anymore.
I mean, because you
She
lied. You lied about your whole family. Who would trust you after that?
The thing is, I don't think I did anything wrong. I cannot sit and hear people blasting my parents for her lies and for things that never happened. But still, am I the a-hole for telling the truth? And there is an update.
I don't think you're the a-hole.
I don't think so.
I don't think
also,
so at
you
all.
weren't prepped for the lie. You know, you were just kind of thrown into it and you're like, what? No.
I think OP helped this fiance dodge a bullet. Yeah.
It also feels somewhat like Kate is possibly the type of person that needs to have her life be more traumatic and more interesting than it is.
She is trying to get trauma karma.
Yeah, she's like, I
Trauma
need
points.
something to write about for my college essay.
Yeah.
You know?
I was so misunderstood. No one understands me. It's so hard.
Yeah, we had 3 cars and no one bought a car for me. So a lot has happened during these last days that generated even more drama. But before I get into that, I want to express a big thank you to those who commented and provided their feedback. After reading your comments, some things started making more sense, and honestly, it brought a lot of perspective on things that I missed. Also, I got really mad reading every little comment from those who projected their own messy family life over my family. And I realized the magnitude of her words and claims. People called my parents abusive, invented things that never happened, and started projecting on what her life was. Some of them even claimed my mom ruined her life when my family did not even meet my father before his divorce. So it was a shock to me to see that strangers who somehow hear her stories may as well believe everything that she says without even doubting a word or even add their own drama into the picture to feed her fantasy. The major thing that happened was that one day her ex-fiance reached out to me via Facebook. He apologized for how things went during the meeting with his parents and asked me if I was willing to meet with him to have a chat because he wanted to check my version of things that Kate told him. And I'm sure those are not going to match up at all.
No.
I explained that I do not want to do this behind her back because I don't think it was fair. But if he can manage to convince her for the three of us to have a conversation, I'm all in. I also told him there are a lot of things I need to confront her about, and I would feel more comfortable with a witness there. For 2 days, I heard nothing from them. And yesterday, the big conversation happened. We scheduled a call around evening because everyone felt more comfortable like this. I will say from the start that I had nothing to do with convincing my sister to attend the talk. This was her decision after discussing it with her ex. Based on what I understood, she agreed to it, hoping that in the end, her fiancé would take her back.
There's no way. I mean, this guy is just going to realize how deep the lies are.
Yeah. I mean, she's really hoping he doesn't ask the right questions, I guess. Unfortunately, I will admit, her ex and I kind of ganged up on her because both of us had many questions, and she was the one to provide answers. Some answers that I got from her. Why did she lie about being mistreated by my parents? She claimed she did not specifically mention me as being mistreated, but admitted she did not correct her mother-in-law when she understood something else. So she knew her mother-in-law was living with the assumption our parents mistreated both of us, but did not correct her in any way. When her fiancé asked why, she said she felt by not correcting her, the mother-in-law will stop considering her the problem, knowing that there were two of us in the same situation. She still claimed she was mistreated by my parents. When I asked her to provide some clear examples, she first said, "You know very well what happened." But me and my fiancé insisted. Some of the things she mentioned were, when she was a teenager, she was oftentimes punished while I was not, which was a clear indication I was loved more, and this is a...
But I feel like, wasn't she acting out way more?
Yeah, maybe you just were a worse child.
Yeah, maybe you were just sneaking out and doing all gosh knows what.
Keep in mind, when she was 14 to 15, I was only 9 or 10, and she was doing bad things like getting suspended for smoking during one of her classes, skipping school, etc. How was I supposed to be punished along with her? She said I was also doing bad things, but was never punished while she was. Her fiancé asked her verbatim, "So you claim you were mistreated because you were punished for smoking in class, while the bad things your younger sister did were maybe drawing on walls?"
I love how the fiancé is like,
he's like,
let the record show.
Let the record show the defendant is claiming that smoking and drawing on walls are a one-to-one comparison. Your Honor, I rest my case. She was not able to answer. She claimed she was financially mistreated by her parents because they would not give her money for fun activities, school trips, or events when she misbehaved. This was an example of punishments she would often receive. Her fiancé asked her if our parents provided her with basic things like food, clothes, and school supplies, and she said, yes. He mentioned parents are not obligated to financially support trips and fun activities, so how was she financially mistreated? I asked her if she ever thinks about everything she did wrong towards our family. She claimed she knows she wasn't a saint, but she was a child. I pointed out that at 17, you're not a child, and you know better than to swear at your grandmother. Her fiancé had no idea about anything, so I explained some very nasty things she did and said. One time we were getting ready to go to our cousin's baptism, and she wanted to wear a black t-shirt with a pentagram on it. The grandma asked her to change because her outfit was not appropriate for a baptism. Kate called her an old, outdated effing hag.
I guess the grandma just doesn't understand style.
She just doesn't get it.
She just doesn't get it. I'm being edgy. It's a statement.
It's not a phase, Grandma.
Down with the institutions, Grandma.
Her fiancé mentioned a story Kate told him and his parents with an incident where my parents mistreated her and confiscated her car, leaving her to walk to school during wintertime.
I walked barefoot uphill both ways.
What she failed to mention was that my parents confiscated her car because of a DUI that she treated like it was not a big deal. And secondly, she never had to walk to school during winter because she could have gone by bus. But in reality, even with no car, she carpooled with one of her colleagues.
Oh, so it wasn't even bad at all.
This triggered her ex a lot because, unfortunately, he lost his grandfather because of a wasted driver. Even knowing this, Kate lied and turned her story into a soap opera just for her to look like a victim. I asked her ex if she had ever said negative things about me, and he said no. She only mentioned some instances where our parents treated us differently, but always pointed out that they were doing it to turn us against each other. But based on the story she told, she apparently never blamed me for anything or said anything negative about me. That's something. The entire ordeal lasted for around 3 hours. I was exhausted. I told her that even if we were never close as sisters, I have always loved her and considered her my sister, period. Not half, just my only sister. I told her I understood that our parents could have handled things differently and maybe she did not receive all the help she needed to adjust to a stepmother and a new family dynamic, but I am now judging her as an adult who should know not to lie and pose as a victim and who should assume responsibility for her part. As people pointed out in my last post, I advised her to get therapy and solve all her issues, but until that happens, I cannot continue to have a relationship with her. She accused me of favoring our parents over her.
I mean, she seems radioactive.
Yeah.
Like that a person that lies that much about something so, I don't know, so important in a relationship, you can't trust. You can't be around. It's going to be drama.
She accused me of favoring our parents over her, but I told her I favor the truth over lies and she should be ashamed of herself. By the way, you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're not going to listen to full episodes of stories just like this one, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit more to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, I think OP is doing the right thing in cutting this person out again until they
better themselves. So that's what happened between me and Kate. I have no idea what happened or what will happen with her ex. But based on how things turn out, I really doubt he'll give her another chance. He made it clear that she cannot be trusted and pointed out something his mother told him. If she is capable of lying in such a way about her own parents, what will she be capable of saying about him? He said he is not doubting she can start saying he was also harmful since this seems to be her narrative. But that's her own problem. She made this bed for herself. And We've tucked you into that bed because that's the end of the story.
Wow. Well, OP, I think you did the right thing. But wow, I mean, what a thick, juicy amount of lies. I'm glad the fiance found out before it was too late. I
know. No, that was a lot.
This says it's pathological, this lying. That it is.
I mean, the fact that she's convinced herself that her parents were awful and like this, this terrible family that was mistreating her when it doesn't seem like that was the case.
Mm-mm.